holding for ice cream truck.
This should be the cold open. Just us listening for the ice cream.
Wait, Christian, is that like that thing from that thing with Jennifer Lawrence where they eat each other? Hunger Games.
Yeah, I offer myself as tribute.
Misleading title. They don't eat each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we are talking The Last of Us Season 1. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Arjuna.
Krishna.
And our producer,
Michael. Oh, I mute myself every time. Michael. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
works for me.
Success.
Much success
Much success.
in terms of not unmuting oneself.
You know, some people wish they would have that ability in the show we're going to talk about. To mute oneself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
So you
explain
can-
that. Explain
So
that.
you can hide, you can not make noise in front of the
Clickers.
in front of the clickers. Yeah.
Yeah. Clickers and
Nice.
that's right. Yeah, because they use audio and
Yeah.
they're not very visual creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
They're more of a sound design type of creature.
They have perfect pitch,
Perfect pitch.
but they do not have perfect sight.
Do you think this is the sequel to Pitch Perfect?
I think it is.
Yes,
100% this is
clearly.
the
Same
sequel,
universe.
clearly. Yeah. Well, technically, yes.
How
it could
many
be.
how many movies, like random movies and shows, can we fit into the Last of Us universe? So think about it. The apocalypse happens in 2003, right?
Great year.
So you'd have to assume that anything made after 2003 was probably not made in our real lives, but maybe up until 2003 was relatively the same.
So this
Maybe.
world never had the MCU.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they did get the first Spider-Man
lucky
movie with Tobey
souls.
Maguire.
They did get the first Spider-Man, that's for sure.
No Lord of the Rings.
No Lord.
No,
Well,
Lord of the Rings
Oh, wait.
Fellowship came out in 01.
no one.
Two Towers came out in 02, and then
Oh,
Return of
so-
the King came out in late 2003.
So I'm going to assume they never got the
They
complete
never got the
trilogy.
release,
Damn,
but it
that
did.
sucks.
It did exist, probably. Maybe not
missed-
fully done.
Missed
That
12
sucks.
endings.
They did miss the 5-hour ending of a lifetime.
That was a good
Oh.
ending, honestly. 15 takes or whatever.
But they never got X-Men: The Last Stand.
So then this
Oh.
world is a better world.
Yeah.
But guys, we're
true.
talking obviously the entire season, the first season of Last of Us. It's already been renewed by HBO Max or whatever the hell platform is going to show
Max,
up whenever
HBO, Max, HBO,
they decide to call
Discovery
it or whatever.
Plus.
HBO has renewed it for a season 2. But how would you guys kind of sum up the season or the finale in a one word? Krishna, kick us off and don't say bald. Yeah,
Bald?
I threw you off, didn't I? Sorry.
You did. I'm like, wait, why would I say bald? Mine's going to be specifically for the finale. And my one word is going to be efficiency. Because
Jesus Christ.
I don't think I've ever seen a protagonist wrap up a finale so efficiently as Joel did in that finale. No questions asked, no hesitation. When he decided he's going to save Ellie, it was the most efficient I've ever seen a protagonist act. Like, he didn't say anything. He just walked through, and it was so well shot as well. It was very character building. It wasn't over the top. It was just like quick shots of him just marching through this hospital. So it was efficiency both in character and in execution. Efficiency.
Legitimate execution.
Yeah, and it was one of the shorter episodes of the season too.
53 or 50 minutes or something?
Yeah, it was under an hour.
Under an hour.
So
Yeah, let's
efficiency
say
and
under an hour.
and runtime as well. I
Right.
suppose.
Yeah, because like the
Efficiency.
premiere was an hour 20. Episode 3 was like
Oh,
an
yeah,
hour
it was.
15. So this was definitely feeds into the word.
Yeah, they actually don't have it listed, the runtime. I'm looking at IMDb right now to
Well,
see.
it's interesting. HBO
Yeah,
lists
weird.
the time normally next to it, but that's like the runtime. But then like the actual time, if you look at it when you're playing, has the extra time for all the trailers at the front,
Sure.
and then the extra scene stuff at the back too. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
So an efficient episode,
efficiency was
Efficiency.
the word.
right? Juna, how would you
Begins
sum
with
it up
E.
in one word?
Yeah, I have a couple words,
Couple. Interesting.
but I think I'm gonna go with depressing.
I mean, can you qualify that first for
I am.
everybody?
I'm going
Okay,
to.
good,
I'm going to
good,
explain
good,
to our
good,
audience.
good, good.
So, I actually watched pretty much the whole season today. Pretty much started this morning. I'd seen the first episode and a half. And it wasn't even a half episode. I realized I was only like 15 minutes into the second episode.
And that was 8 weeks ago.
Yep. And I came over to Ravi's and Lawrence this morning. And I got here around 11 and then just put it on. And I've been watching The Last of Us for close to 8 hours. And I do not recommend this experience to anyone.
I was gonna say, like, you should, like, I feel like what you should do after you're done here is, like, stop and get, like, a fish fillet, like, get, like, some kind of nice junky food.
I might get a milkshake for myself.
Something, and then go home and, like, watch fucking
brain.
SpongeBob or something.
I need to do happy things.
Yes.
I need happiness in my life. Because holy shit, is this the most depressing show? And I don't mean this in a negative way, by the way. But it is so depressing and draining. And yeah, I just kind of want to cry and curl up into a corner.
Yeah, actually, Arjuna, your eyes look a little red right now and watery.
It's emotional.
Oh, let's see some of the weed he's been smoking.
Oh, yeah, it could be. That would be the other.
Oh yeah, could be.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, is it an edible?
But yeah, it's depressing. Like, the show really hits you, and it reminded me a lot. I played the game 10 years ago when it came out in 2013. So it's been a long time, and it was really fun to watch it and kind of think of, like, okay, what aligned, and then look it up too to see, like, what aligned and what were some of the differences and everything. But yeah, it's just a sucker punch. Like, it's just, you just think it can't get sadder, and then it does.
Which is interesting because, like, I played the first chapter, or, like, the first, I don't know, little bit of the game, and then I put it down and I never looked back. And that was obviously, for me, I think I picked it up, like, maybe 5-6 years ago or something, just randomly.
Yeah.
But, like, you knew what was coming. It's not like everything you saw today was, like, brand new and whatever, but it's still, you're like, it was super impactful.
It's impactful. Crazy. It's draining. They executed it really well. And even the stuff that doesn't even hit the same emotional impact, and which I'm sure we'll get to, they make it impact you. And it really, it's a show that kind of doesn't let up. It's just kind of keeps going. And, like, we've talked a lot about the binge model versus the weekly model.
Yeah.
This is a show to do weekly. It is too heavy to binge. Yes. For me, at least.
I was just gonna say, I think I've mentioned a few pods ago how I prefer to binge shows. I didn't on this one, and I am so thankful that I didn't binge it. So otherwise, because like Arjuna, I think the emotional turmoil of all of that, all 9 of those episodes at once would be tough.
Just a bit.
That would have been my other one-word impression. Tough.
Oh.
Because
Built tough, like a Ford.
Because Joel is tough. Well, no. Ellie is tough.
No, Joel is filled with plot device.
Plot.
Rifle that never runs out of bullets. Perfect aim. Calm under pressure.
I mean, he is.
I mean, you
he's
see
good
all
at what
the
he
training
does,
he's
okay?
had in Mandalorian?
This is true. This is very true. But it also shows, like, I mean, this show, because again, like, I'm not familiar with the video game, so, like, this finale of season 1 and what Joel says and does.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're rooting for Joel. The entire
Are you?
The entire show, yeah. You want him to get Ellie to the Fireflies. You want them to find a vaccine and a cure or whatever. And then what he says and he does, it's like, well,
Fuck.
Joel's kind of a selfish dick.
I will say, in the
But
game,
I get it.
In the game and in the show, I was not necessarily rooting for Joel.
Who are you rooting for then?
I wasn't really rooting for anyone, but I certainly didn't like what Joel does in the finale. And even playing.
So you
the
wanted
game,
Ellie to die?
I didn't necessarily want Ellie to die, but I think, like, killing an entire hospital is tough. And it was even when I remember like playing the game and being like, this is tough. Like, this isn't great.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah, but I mean, especially the shift in the show, right? Having watched the show immediately, right? The threat of the humans really comes into play in the second half of the season.
Right.
Like, you really don't have as much stuff with the clickers and stuff, which is just like the game, right? Like, and they talk about it, and they talk about how there's a lot, I think Joel says it early in episode 1 or 2, and stuff. There's things way worse than just the actual infection and the clickers and stuff.
Well, fun fact, in, like, terms of present time, right? The last time you see an actual clicker or whatever is in episode 6. In episode 7, right, you have Ellie's flashback to when she's in the mall. And sure, there's a clicker, but obviously that's a flashback. But then in the rest of episode 7, 8, 9, there's no clickers at all. You don't see a single one. So, yeah, very much it is more the threat of, like you said, humans. Yeah. I like to call it the Walking Dead effect.
No, I will say the one in episode 8 was more of a runner than a clicker.
Yeah.
In episode 7, you mean?
Yeah, with the flashback.
Yeah, the flashback.
It wasn't full clicker yet.
Right.
I mean, I call them all clickers because they're creepy.
Infected.
Zombies. Let's just call them what they are, zombies. Yeah.
I don't think they use that word.
They don't, but IP and stuff.
You do?
So for my one-word impression, I am going to go with electric.
Like Pikachu?
Yes. Actually, can I use Pikachu? No, I'm kidding. I won't use Pikachu. I'm going to use electric because 2 reasons. Number one, the one common theme that I learned in post-apocalyptic America is everyone knows how to create electricity all of a sudden. And that's not a bad thing. Like, it's good. Like, you should figure out electricity is very important to, our general survival. I just kind of thought it was funny that every established colony or whatever has like really good working electrical infrastructure.
They would have to, right? This is,
sure. No,
this is 20
especially
years in.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Anyone who survived to this point is a survivor.
Survivor, for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then also electric in the sense that I felt electrified to, I think I'm going to become a doomsday prepper. I think that's Nick Offerman's character. These little towns.
Oh, yeah.
The government is a bunch of Nazis.
Not then, now.
One of the best episodes of television.
What
ever
an iconic line.
I mean, they've got to be nominated for at least, at the very least, that episode.
You can make an argument
Emmy.
for a lot of different performers.
Yeah, a lot of people did really.
I mean, and that's kind of the beauty. Like, you have all these episodes that encompass these arcs, and everyone's essentially a guest star, right? Mm-hmm. Outside of Pedro and Bella Ramsey. Mm-hmm. Everyone has like an episode or two essentially, and so many castmates just like really killed it. And most of them did die
in the show.
This is very true. This is super true.
So, but yeah, our one-word sentence, if we rearrange the words, is depressing electric efficiency.
It's a very wow.
Sounds apt.
The EED.
Ooh.
Or DED.
Dead.
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 That's
perfect.
So in terms of like the actual show itself, so obviously this show is based on the video game series that, like Arjun said, came out in 2013. Our 2 series runners are Greg Mazin and Neil Druckmann. Druckmann is actually one of the lead writers, or actually wrote the game.
Yeah.
And then Greg Mazin, his big Mazin, his big HBO show was Chernobyl, which was another show we did do a pod on that too as well.
Quite a few years.
We bought a physicist on.
Yeah,
we did.
Our friend.
Yes,
our doctor friend. Do you think he still listens to the pod?
I would hope so. I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
I remember he didn't like Chernobyl.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did not like it because of the scientific inaccuracies.
That's fine.
He's a physicist.
As a physicist, like somebody that spends their entire time looking and understanding science, like of course you want it to be as accurate as possible. Granted, it's a
TV show.
It's a TV
he had
show
strong words for it.
He had a lot of strong words.
That's great.
But that's, it's great that HBO made sure to have like Druckmann on there. We also had voice actors from the actual video game show up in the show, such as, help me out here, guys.
Yeah, so there's 4. There's 4 big ones.
4 big ones.
So
yeah.
Troy Baker, who voiced Joel, he plays James, who in some of the later episodes, what was that, episode 7 or it's episode 8?
Mm-hmm.
He plays James, who is part of the cannibal group. He's the second-hand guy to the the father, the man of the cloth. Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie in the original series, plays Ellie's mom in the TV series, Anna.
Critical role person as well.
And then the actress who plays Marlene, Meryl Dandridge, also plays Marlene. So she played the same character. She voiced the character, and she did the.
So she Bo-Katon'd it.
She did. She Katie
She
Sackhoff
Bo-Katon'd it.
No, I like Bo-Katan.
It's a verb now. Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah. And then Jeffrey Pierce, who voiced Tommy, Joel's brother, played Perry, who's the right-hand man of Catherine, the woman who's in charge of the Kansas City rebellion group.
The big bearded dude who got it from the fungus monster.
Yes.
He got his head ripped
Correct.
off. It was pretty violent.
Yeah.
Great beard.
Yeah. Great beard.
You
Yeah.
know what all four of these characters have in common? They all died.
And they all seem to be sort of, and half of them are like second in commands, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, this world is teaching you that if you're second in command, you're going to get a violent end, I guess.
Unless you take over and become first in command before you do.
They should have. That's the valuable lesson.
Well, Marlene died, and she was sort of first in command.
That's also very true. But she also kind of, like they knew that there was a problem, right, with the fungus and everything, and they wanted to deal with personal vengeance first as opposed to dealing with safety of the city and whatnot. So
one thing that's interesting too about the Naughty Dog games, like The Last of Us and Uncharted, is the voice actors do some mocap for the games as well, especially for the animations to get them like fairly accurate. So like they embody the like physicalness. So I think that's what was interesting, that they got the same actress for Marlene to do both, because she's done the physical performance before too.
So fun fact, they just took the recording of the mocap and they created a CGI version of her, and then don't even need her on set, actually. Just AI generated the whole damn thing, which would be kind of like insane, right? Like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Probably
cool.
not that far away, right?
I mean, this show
Nervous
did,
Not at all, no.
like if we talk like just general effects of the show, I think it did very, very well in terms of like showing a zombie-esque creature, if you will, hordes and things, and then obviously in America that is in a post-apocalyptic world. After the first episode aired, or the first two episodes aired, they did release a bunch of like behind-the-scenes FX type things.
Yeah,
where
which is cool.
They actually shot on locations, or like very similar locations.
Yeah, most of this was shot in Canada. Actually,
yeah.
wasn't shot in the America. Just
I don't know what that means, but
I don't know that word.
tax write-off.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Vancouver area is great.
But they use like practical effect or practical stages and sets and everything, and then digitally added what they need to, which was nice, as opposed to like sticking them on a green screen and saying,
Yeah.
"You're in hell."
The only time it showed through was, I think, after the first episode or the second episode. Everyone who lived in Boston was like, that's not Boston, because right outside of Boston there were mountains. And I'm like,
10 miles away.
Definitely not Boston. That's probably Vancouver.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Only Bostonians would get mad.
Oh, Hollywood. When will you ever just film where you need to?
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
We'll never do it.
Never.
But then it's like, why did they say that LA is the perfect filming location and we don't shoot any real major films here? Well, actually, that's not true. Aren't they shooting The Joker too?
Yeah, The Joker.
Right
Yeah.
down, like
Right
you're saying?
outside of our house.
Right in downtown.
Yeah.
It's right there.
So never mind. Sorry, Hollywood.
Michael and I are actually co-starring in the movie. We're the third and fourth leads.
Good.
We're Tweedledee.
Yeah.
Tweedledee.
I walked out my door, turned a corner, and all of a sudden they're like, "You're in."
They're like, oh, we gotta do makeup. Oh, you're pasty. Enough.
Yeah, they just pull you off the street. Lerman's trying to buy coffee. He's like, quick, I get him in makeup. That's hilarious.
I hear somebody go, "You got moxie, kid," and I turn around, and before I know it, I'm a star.
And that's how
It's
I
the
was
Hollywood
a
dream.
star.
I mean, that's how. I mean, so if you go back to like episode 7, the Ellie flashbacks, when she's talking about her roommate, her friend
Riley. Yeah.
Riley, right? She said that Riley was like, "Oh, I was just out on a run, and a firefly saw me." It was like, "You run away and escape really well.
Kid.
You got moxie, kid. You want to join the fireflies? Here's some bombs."
Well, it's Marlene that recruited her. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is creepy.
Well, she's watching because she's been watching
Right.
Ellie.
Right.
Which,
Right. Which is her
Which
whole,
is even more creepy.
yeah.
Just waiting for the moment to kill her.
To strike.
Yeah.
What'd you think of those effects at the arcade, Robbie?
Oh, I hated it. Those were probably the worst effects. I'm not sure though. Like, you made a good point. I don't know if it's because my TV is calibrated in a way that.
You need a new TV. You're saying?
Yeah, I should get a new TV then.
Yeah. Which
always?
effects?
So in the flashback episode where they're in the arcade or in the mall, there's a shot where their backs is to the camera, and then they're in the foreground, and the background is the arcade. But because it's so dark, I don't know if it's my TV that's overcompensating or what, but it looks like they're green screened in, and it just looks really, really bad. Not entirely sure. I mean, I would hope that they didn't have to green screen them into a fake arcade for some reason, at least for that one shot.
It'd be weird because they actually go into
an arcade.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
well,
that's why I'm like.
What it looked like is the purple lights were outshining
Right.
whatever they had to
Right.
fill the back of them,
Yeah.
and so they
then is that
the
just
black
bad lighting then?
Might have been.
might have been.
Bad lighting.
Just
Or-
might have been a bad lighting.
Or maybe it's a weird side effect of one of those TVs because you have the like really precise
Right.
blacks, and so maybe it just really was accurate about this is bright, this is not.
Yeah, maybe they added some of the lighting too in post, and then it was just poorly added.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious, especially for like our listeners, like if you watching this series, if you saw any, because HBO is notorious for having episodes of things where it's too dark,
Not just
too
HBO
bright.
anymore. Have you heard people complaining about Mandalorian season 3, episode 2?
Yeah, where it's too dark.
That it's too dark.
It's too
yeah,
dark.
so.
But like, if you've seen something, definitely comment below. Let us know if you're seeing, issues in terms of, are you able to visually see what's happening? Is it too dark? Is it too bright? Does it look too fake? Because I'm curious.
looks great.
Like,
Do you guys think we look fake? Like, do we look like we're too dark?
No, and there's a particular reason I know that we don't. Because number one, we never try and make it dark, and number two, we purposely make sure there are no HDR anything in play so that you can't screw anything
Gonna
up.
switch everything to HDR.
Fuck no, I don't. No,
Rec 709.
nope. I'm saying Rec 709 for the rest of my life. I don't believe in HDR. The end.
Interesting.
I
Do you believe in the clickers?
What?
The infected? Do you believe in them?
No, they're terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're misunderstood.
Speaking of the clickers, like one area that I would say that I wish the show would have focused a little bit more on. The show starts out with a really interesting like interview, right, in the first episode, where they're kind of talking back in I think it's the 80s, it might have been the 70s.
I think it's the 60s.
Or 60s. But there's a really interesting conversation about the idea of the fungus and global warming and how this could all kind of like screw things up. And, I kind of wanted to see more of that sprinkled throughout, whether it would have been like you start each episode that way or you come across old recordings. I don't know, just like something
so you want
more.
Of the science. Oh, let me
I want a little bit more of the science.
I will say this.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of that in the series versus the game. Like the series actually, that opening snapshot, Joel explaining to Ellie that like the spread started through the bread industry and pancakes and all the grains and stuff. That's not in the game. A lot of that, even like the flashback with Anna, Ellie's mom, and like them kind of telling you the reason she's immune is because she was bit. That's not in the game. So, we'll go through some of the...
Well, no, let's just jump into it right now.
Yeah,
like, the biggest differences between series and game.
Yeah, so I would say that's a huge one. I didn't write that down in our outline, but like there's a lot more explanation and exposition here about the disease itself and the infection and everything. They don't really explain that as much in the game.
I guess my follow-up question then would be to those who have played the game. Does the lack of the science make it scary in the game because you're like, there's no explanation?
Yeah.
Or do you prefer the explanation in the show?
I mean, I think it works for the medium, right? Like, I think one of the biggest differences you have in the series versus the game is very, for the most part, it's pretty linear, right? You're always playing as Joel. It's very action oriented. There's a lot of there's definitely cutscenes and dialogue and whatnot, but like, a lot of the flashbacks aren't necessarily presented like they are in this that give context and background. The Bill and Frank episode, in episode 3, you don't get any of that background or context in the game. Some of the stuff with Henry and Sam, catching up to where Joel and Ellie are, you don't get that. You don't get Catherine's an original character to add to that narrative point. You don't get the stuff with Ellie's mom in the game. So, like, I think that stuff added to the show, right? It adds to the narrative. It adds to what you're trying to do in each episode and what you're trying to do with the show itself. I don't know if anyone here has played Uncharted games before.
Yes,
but they're all like they're very linear in terms of like you're just kind of always on the go. And The Last of Us is kind of similar, like the game itself, where you're always kind of on the go and on the move to the next location, the next kind of setup and whatnot. And then you have some cutscenes that explain in the story that's really in there. And that I think works for the game because it's very immediate and there's a lot of immediacy. But that's a little bit different
when you're watching a TV show.
It's different in a TV show, right? And I think they did a good job adding some of that flavor and stuff. While in the game, it might have felt a little bogged down. Now, there are extras and stuff you could get in The Last of Us. I think there's probably some extras where you can find out a little bit more context, but I don't think it's a ton. But it's extras, right? Like it's not part of the narrative itself.
There was some Frank and Bill stuff that you could find. There's a note.
Yep.
The body of Frank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you could definitely
you could
find
suss
some of
it
that
out.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't explicit.
Right.
Not as beautiful as the episode.
Yeah, and I think that is so Frank and Bill in particular.
And actually they split up. Like the note says like I'm done with you and I'm leaving.
Yep.
It's kind of that scene where he's like we got to put some flowers here or not.
That's the biggest difference. So in the game so obviously in the show, Frank and Bill are both dead when you come across
what?
Them. They
no,
committed...
Spoiler alert.
No, Bill's still alive. He helps you through the school.
In the show. I'm sorry. I didn't say... I said in the game. I misspoke. In the show, they are both dead.
Right.
In the game, Bill is very much alive. As Michael just said, he helps you through stuff, and he doesn't die. You separate from him, and he's still alive. They actually have an argument. Like Michael said, you can kind of suss it out. And Frank left, got infected, and then he committed suicide.
Damn.
Wow.
And like none of you can, but like everything you got in episode 3 is a big addition.
Can we qualify something real quick? You haven't played Last of Us episode
Part 2. I haven't played Part 2 yet.
Okay. And I just want to put that out there that nobody here has played the second part, because while there are differences from the first game and the second game, there may potentially be things from the second game that were put into the first season of the show that we're not aware of. So by no means are we aware of those things. I just want to put that out there.
So if we're saying something and we sound like dummies, that's obvious that when we play the second game.
There were a couple of things. I read a Wikipedia a while back because I was never going to play the second part. So
and again, like the other thing too, like whenever we talk about things where it's from video game or book or musical CD to TV or movie. I don't know why I said musical CD, but the big thing here is we're never like judging the show or movie based on the source material. We're basing it on what we're seeing in that present thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, get stuck up on like, oh, it has to be the exact same thing. Like episode 3 of Last of Us pissed off a lot of people for the explicit nature of the relationship, and a lot of people felt that it wasn't needed. I personally think it was fun and interesting and a unique way of storytelling.
And thankfully, there's a vocal majority that really enjoyed that episode. Right?
Yeah.
That was
one of the best episodes of television ever made.
Yeah.
I mean, it's made me a doomsday prepper, so.
A couple other differences I just want to run through. This one I found interesting. The timeline is a little bit different. In the game, the outbreak happens in 2013, which is the year the game came out, and then the 20 years is 2033, because they wanted to make the present in the present day. They did the outbreak in 2003 instead, with 2023 being the present in the TV show.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
The other thing in the game, because it's more of a gameplay mechanic, there's spores essentially that you have to stay away from as well, because that can infect you. So like those spores will actually like block off paths and areas, and you have to go around it and whatnot. The spores don't exist in the game, but they do have like the vines and stuff, and they're like, oh, they have like these sensitivities and whatnot. And then these I've mentioned the Kathleen one, and the other one that I thought was, it's not super major, but it's just slightly different. Tessa's death. She doesn't have like that kiss of death type of thing where she like the infected like kisser. Makes out with her essentially, and then she blows all of them up. It's actually the military that they run into, and then she stays back and fights them. But she's also been infected at that point.
Wait, is it the military or is it whatever that weird
Fedra?
The Fedra group. Okay,
yeah. So
not military then. Gotcha.
Fascinating.
Also, Kansas City doesn't exist. It's all Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Kansas City stuff is in Pittsburgh, and it doesn't have a leader. You just fight a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, the Henry and Sam stuff is different, like, because the whole Kathleen thing is added. Like, he didn't. There isn't this whole like rebellion thing, and like it's more of just like a group that Henry. The reason they're looking for them as well is because they were like went through their area or whatever type of thing. It's a little more vague and just like.
I mean, what they
have similar
what the show did, I think,
it's a little more narratively. Yeah. It works more narratively.
Right. For that was episode 6, which, I want to get into. I have 2 questions for you. You're gonna both hate me. I want your favorite episode and your saddest episode.
Ooh,
it could be the same.
Which episode made you like in the feels and you were like, I'm gonna never watch this show ever again because I'm too sad?
I think I know. Yeah. So my favorite episode is the Nick Offerman.
The Bill and Frank. The Bill and Frank.
Bill and Frank.
Yeah.
Bill and Frank. That was my favorite episode. And then the saddest episode, I think, is 2 episodes after that. So in Kansas City,
episode 5.
Yeah, with the 2 brothers. Yeah. What were their names? Terrible.
Henry and Sam.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry and Sam. And when God, that was. Yeah, I might have cried for that one.
Damn.
Yeah, that one's tough. I mean, that one's tough. It's a really tough one. Very similar in the game too.
Yeah,
in terms of just how that whole ending goes.
I'll make it easier for us. I think we all agree that was the saddest episode.
Yeah, that was up there. Episode 8 was really sad with everything that happened with Ellie at the right there. Episode 7 sad, with just everything that happens with her friend Riley.
I mean, this would be kind of weird, but one of my favorite episodes, episode 8, I thought that was a more like episode 3. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a really good and beautiful episode. But in terms of like specific to our 2 main characters, where they are the focus, I thought episode 7 was probably like peak.
Yeah.
The penultimate episode for most series is usually the one where it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the holy shit episode where you're seeing a lot of these characters like really figure it out and also see the literal worst of humanity.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, you do not like watch a show like The Last of Us because you're like, I want to watch a happy show about how good humanity is. Like you watch it because you're kind of a sicko and you want to see how disturbing humanity really can be.
Right.
And like, unfortunately, that episode is like, here you go, humanity sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys both have really great answers. I'll go for, I think the same episode will be my answer for both, and it might be the pilot, right? Like,
oh yeah.
The pilot, was
so well done.
So like probably one of the best first episodes I've seen in a long, long time. Just really great, and it's like it's an 80-minute episode, and I'm like, I need more immediately. And it's so sad, like obviously the opening scenes are really, really tough, and just hard to watch, right? Because like you just see your protagonist Joel like lose everything. So that's really, and obviously that's a huge part of the whole story, that whole sadness and how it just kind of brings this guy down throughout, but also brings him back a little bit because he finds Ellie.
Yeah, I mean the last episode, right? There's the line of like, what is it? Time heals all wounds, and then he looks at her and Ellie and says no, or no, he doesn't say no, but like
not time.
Not
it
time.
wasn't. It wasn't time.
It wasn't time.
It wasn't time.
Yeah,
implying it was her.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they both have that awkward silence.
And then that
emotional
guy
moment.
throws a flashbang at them.
But
Oh yeah, so well done. So, and then in the middle of that little pun game, it's like, damn it.
Those were some good puns, by the way.
My
favorite
puns were hilarious.
The what was it like? Why did or what did the cannibal throw up or something or like?
Oh, what did the frustrated cannibal do?
Yeah,
He threw up his hands.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know why, but that just felt so
I did
dark.
laugh in
That was
episode
perfect.
7 when they did the screenshot one, and both Ellie and Riley were like, "What's a screenshot?"
What's the screenshot? Yeah. Which
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense.
and they were both laughing, and they're like, "Wait, what is that?" That's so great. Actually, that's actually one of the like underrated, really good parts of the show was how well they showed. And there were a few instances of this that like the world went to shit in 2003, and showing how Ellie doesn't know what like stuff that we take for granted, like what that is. She's like, "Oh, that's a car. I've never been in a car. Why we're driving?
airplane.
An airplane.
Wait, things can fly. Like you guys went in a plane. What was that like?"
The excitement
It
she
was
has
awesome.
when she's going down an escalator.
Yeah.
When Joel is explaining football to her, like it. Those are like small but really great.
That was the only
moments.
part of that
Excellent
entire
world building.
series where I was like, "Oh man, maybe this world's not that bad. You don't have to care about sports."
But what about
Wow.
the trade deadline?
Wow.
Who gives a flying fuck?
Oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, really good attention to detail.
Big time, yeah.
Couple other minor differences. Maria, Tommy's wife, is not pregnant, or it's not at least not stated she's pregnant in the game. Joel's injury is different. He doesn't get stabbed. He actually like falls a bunch.
I don't know why this is
funny. Ellie's first kill is a little different. She ends up drowning a guy.
So just some rando or
Yeah, like I think Joel is getting drowned.
First
and
kill
then-
in the game or first?
First kill in
kill.
the game, I
Oh.
should say. Yeah, our first kill is still Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just some minor ones.
Gotcha. Wait, no. Can you clarify that? Ellie's first kill in the game is someone she drowns, or
I think,
Riley?
I think it's still Riley, but like the one that you see on screen, right? Like
Sure.
the first kill she has in front of Joel, I guess is the best way to put it. So her second kill.
Like in game, not flashback.
What was the first kill that we see?
It's in when they're in Kansas City,
Right.
And Joel is being strangled, and then she shoots the guy.
But she didn't kill him.
She
She
didn't
didn't kill him.
so,
but like, that's
what was her
first
first kill?
Yeah, I don't think
I'm
she's
trying
killed
to
anyone in
think.
front of Joel.
Yeah.
She
Well,
hasn't.
I guess that was. It's still considered. I guess you could consider it her kill because she shoots him and then.
Sure.
leaves
I don't consider it a kill unless you can skin it.
It leads directly to the guy's death.
Technically,
So it's an assist. It's not a kill, it's an assist.
yeah, exactly. And this is the thing we learn in chivalry. You get points.
Yeah,
for those.
is that it? Chivalry.
Yeah, it was a takedown, not
shooter
a kill.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking dark.
We actually
We all have
we haven't
issues.
played
This
chivalry.
last
in a
This is
while.
video games. This is based on a video game. We're giving you video game lingo.
A video
very
game
true.
where you murder hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is dark, but we're just being faithful to the source material.
That's right.
Yeah. If anything, you should be mad at Sony for allowing this game to exist.
If anybody does remember her first actual kill in the show, write that down in the comments because I can't remember. I still can't.
We're not considering clickers kills.
No, they're not real people anymore.
Okay, because then her
That's
first
a
kill
whole
would have been the
conversation.
clicker.
If they're if are they still people? Are you still?
Because her first kill then
No.
would have been the clicker in the basement when she
Yes,
stabs
when
it.
she's-
yeah,
when
and,
they're
that's not a person.
that would have been
episode
her
3.
first. But if we're not considering those kills, then I don't know.
Yeah. Could you say the deer then?
Well, if we're gonna,
Deers aren't people.
no
either.
comment.
Well, that's
No
another
comment.
question. Are clickers people?
They used to be.
I don't know. Chime in.
I mean, it goes back to the zombie rules where it's like you're no longer you, and there's no way to reverse it.
Yeah, I mean that fungus looks pretty in there.
Yeah, I don't think
Some
it's
of
coming out.
those.
Like,
And also, it seems like, I guess you would have to be like, you'd have to define what's alive. So the body
Oh, God.
is alive, but the person the thing that would have made the person is dead.
Yeah,
Cordyceps
I mean,
killed it.
It's the same
So
reason.
if we're going by biological living, then yeah, it's a person because it's biologically still alive. But if we're going to go with living, is the person, the consciousness of that person, then no, they're dead.
So then,
right?
wait, go back one step further then. Shaun of the Dead. Why does Simon Pegg keep Nick Frost alive, who's clearly
Got
a
attachment
zombie?
to his friend.
Because they have,
But
because
there's
he has
still
attachment
similarities
issues.
where he's able to play video games
True,
and things.
still
So
has
it's
some-
like, yeah,
You know,
there's
every
still some
every zombie movie and thing has slightly
different rules.
different
Yeah.
rules.
It's going to be
yes.
crazy when a real a zombie apocalypse happens, and we're going to be like, which one is it?
And you have a bunch of people like mansplaining to the zombies. No, you're supposed to do this based on this thing and show. And then they get their eyes ripped out.
Zombie splaining.
Zombie splaining.
Wait. Actually, this is so real. This could be a good little social clip here. So we've had quite a few zombie properties over the last 100 years, however long there's been zombie movies, and then shows, and then
100
games.
years.
What
Century
is
sounds
the
right.
scariest depiction of a zombie you've ever seen? I think I might go with the World War Z one because they're so fucking fast.
That's pretty creepy. Terrible execution of a film, though.
28 Days
Yeah,
Later,
correct.
I think, are the scariest for me.
28 Days Later is still, to me,
Great movie.
the #1 zombie / human beings are terrible film of all time. Like, it's
I totally forgot about that.
I
That's a
still
great call.
find it like scarier to a degree and more disturbing, like Walking Dead.
Do we
Last
consider
of
the I
Us.
Am Legend vampire people zombie-ish?
They're vampires.
They're vampires.
And in the book, they are.
I don't know what they are. I mean, I guess
Vampires,
they
yeah.
are like they have a society in the Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
Again, unfortunately, like the source material way better than the actual film
So
and the
good.
execution, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's tricky.
Those were scary. At least they
I actually
scared me.
forget
My
about that movie.
15-year-old me. I watched the movie.
Nice.
Do you? Well, I don't know. Maybe you'll talk about it later. I'm just curious if you guys think that Ellie will be upset with Joel when she finds out the truth.
And
and what does that make him? Like, I don't even know how to feel about
yeah,
that.
I think she would be. And the way I read that final conversation, right, is I think deep down she knows he's lying.
Yeah, big
so
time.
it's not like she's asking for like verification. She's like asking, are you gonna be truthful here, or are you trying to? I don't know if she's reading into like trying to protect me or however not, but I think it's a test, right? Of like,
And he failed.
what are you gonna say? And he says, nope.
Well, I think it's interesting because he's trying to protect her by lying. I think
Yeah.
it's his protector instinct.
Right.
But
100%.
yeah, I think.
But I think there's a lot of truth that rings true to what
but
Marlene
he's breaking
was
her
saying.
trust.
Yeah.
But he's also breaking her trust,
Yes.
right?
Oh, I
so
guess-
that's not good.
Do you think she wanted to die?
I
Would
don't think
she
she
be
wanted-
willing to do that
I
if he'd
don't-
been like they were going to kill you?
I
don't-
think her character is yes. I think
think
she would be
after
like, I would do it.
Everything she went through, I think she would have been like, if there's a chance to save people, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So it was
But
a very
unfortunately,
selfish
though-
move.
and that's the
But here's the
that's
biggest
good
but,
stuff.
but here, time out. The bigger thing there was is Marlene.
Marlene.
She didn't give her that option.
No, she was just going
Correct.
to do it.
She was going to do it. So I think it's null and void.
Yeah, but
that's the mistake she made. Yeah.
Yeah, big
At the
time.
end, she said we should give her the option, and Joel
Says-
didn't give her
No,
the
he's like,
option
nope.
either.
Nope. Yep.
Correct.
Yeah. So
And
everyone's
that's,
bad.
that's
Adults
the
are bad.
issue.
They're selfish.
But speaking of this, like again, like nobody here has played the game.
Right.
The second game. We do know between the first game and the second game, or you had said, Arjun, there's a
I think
4-year.
there's like something like there's a time jump.
There's a time jump. We're not going to spoil what we or some of us know of the second game. There are going to be no spoilers there, so please refrain from that when you come with your bold predictions. But I want to hear bold predictions for Season 2 of The Last of Us, which has been greenlit, but there is no release date as of right now. If I had to guesstimate, end of 2024, start of 2025.
Well, look,
It's gonna be a minute.
I mean, I think if you're looking at it from the HBO programming mind, right, they're going to want to put this not with House of the Dragon, their biggest hit on the channel.
I really want to see the numbers in
And
terms of the two.
so if House of the Dragon is supposed to come out in 2024 summer,
Yep.
right? You would imagine the production of this is probably
End of this year.
similar or
Yeah.
maybe a little shorter than that show because you don't have to render dragons. In
Unless
theory.
they have fungus dragons in the second one.
Wait, how do you know, Juno? Maybe that's Cordyceps dragons.
See, this is where
Season two.
HBO fucked up.
Yeah.
And they should have kept Westworld going.
Yeah.
Because then you could have the clickers, fucking dragons, like all your goddamn
all
IP.
the different worlds.
But whatever, no offense to.
So
idiots.
I mean, it could be like late 2024 or like 2025.
I think it's 2025.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 2027. Let's make it 4 years in real life, just like it's 4 years of the game.
Well, can I start with my bold prediction?
No, Christian's gonna go first.
Okay.
No, you can go first.
My bold prediction is season 2 will not be Last of Us Part 2, the video game.
Okay.
I believe season 2 will be in this interim period, and they're going to do new story.
Okay.
Essentially, and extend this franchise longer. Which, I mean, there's nothing that prevents them from going, I guess, past Last of Us Part 2. But I think because there's a time jump, I think they can play around with it a little bit more.
It would be better to go previous.
What do you mean previous?
I'm saying, for the sake of the fandom, I think it would be better to do the interim, like you're saying, than to extend beyond.
Yeah.
For unspoilery reasons.
Yes.
Oh, no,
especially if they want to do a third game, right? Like, then if it moved past Part 2, and they're like, well, we're doing the third game before the game,
and real
Game
quick,
of Thrones it.
Real quick, and at the time of taping of this podcast, there is no definitive anything news or anything about Last of Us Part 3 or whatever. There's nothing
for the video game.
Yes.
So, and we don't know anything about the story of season 2. They have not said anything. So we honestly have no idea.
You know, the creators are probably in a room right now screaming at a whiteboard, being like, fuck, what do we do?
I think there was an interview with,
they know what
like,
they're doing.
I'm sure they have a rough idea, a roadmap of, like, what would a season 2 kind of be? And now they're figuring out.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but okay. They figure out season 8? Is that what you said?
No, so now they're figuring it out. Now they're building it out. I think but I think they have a roadmap.
Hopefully.
I would be shocked if they didn't, especially because Druckerman is on this series. You know,
sorry, that was so fast.
Druckerman.
No, it was so fast that I heard like drunk man. I was like, wait, like my ears don't work. I'm all blocked up still.
Christian, your bold prediction for season 2 of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, so I like Arjuna's a lot, and I feel like that's exactly what HBO would do, is add an interim season. I imagine even an interim season would look like Joel and Ellie being side characters and maybe following different protagonists,
like Tommy and
maybe it's a Tommy focus or someone else. Sure. But my prediction is going to be for whatever season, and this is from someone who doesn't know how the second game ends. Whenever we get back to the second season, aligning with the second game, I think it ends with Ellie killing Joel. So that would be my bold prediction for whether that's season 2, season 3, season 4, whenever it is. That is how that story ends, I think.
Wow. So sad.
I don't know, but again, I could be very wrong. Here's the reason I say it is the end of this first season. It has set up Joel and Ellie to be on opposite ends of some conflicts, and this is a brutal world. And the show that I've seen has painted it as no apology. It's a very unapologetic world. And so it feels to me, to maintain the integrity of what they've built up, I can see it going in a direction where Ellie would kill Joel. I don't know exactly how that would happen and what would lead to that kind of a breakdown, but that's, if I had to project it out and imagine an ending, that would be it.
Would you watch the show if Pedro Pascal was no longer in it? And what I mean by that
they
is
went past season.
Let's say so.
Yeah, let's take your prediction.
Yeah, let's take your prediction. So he dies or whatever in season 2. And
at the end of season 2.
Yeah, exactly. And then season 3 comes, and there's no Pedro Pascal anymore. Very much like Sean Bean not being in any other season of Game of Thrones. Because, I'll say this, the whole reason I got into Game of Thrones was because I was like, oh, Sean Bean, he's somebody I like. He's an interesting,
he was the biggest
actor.
name.
And then they fucking cut his head off.
But you knew that was coming.
It was so good.
Well, I did it.
Well, because it's Sean Bean.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Good point.
But
the character is in future seasons.
Kind of.
He's in one flashback, played by Elrond from Rings of Power.
Anywho, but yeah, like, would you actually like? Would you like? We've said it. Like,
Yes.
This show, you would watch it. Okay. Well, there you go then. Okay.
And the reason is because while Pedro Pascal is my favorite part of the show, the rest of the show is so strong that unless there's a severe drop off in quality in the second season, that would be the reason I wouldn't watch it.
Gotcha.
Right? If it's the same level of quality and storytelling and acting from everyone, then yeah, I would absolutely watch past if a hypothetical Pedro Pascal exit.
Gotcha.
Would you say then the show doesn't necessarily need its leads?
That's a really, really good question. Possibly, like I said, the creators have done a great job of like creating this world, and so it's hard to imagine like a season of this without the two leads, and that would be the fear, right? It's like it would become a different show.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. Maybe that's what a season 2, if they do an interim and you put in other protagonists,
right?
You can
build up your
gauge.
cast.
That's a good way to maybe gauge. Be like, can we do a show where our two leads take a backseat or are not even in it? Maybe.
yeah.
So
And you had examples of that this season. There are large parts of episodes where you either only have one or neither of your main two characters. So I wouldn't say you didn't get a lack of time of both Joel and Ellie, but I wouldn't say that was the whole season.
Yeah,
either,
I mean, episode 3 is a really good example of where the majority of the episode is not about either of them.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look, Tess is in the first 2 episodes. She's
Right.
she's with them
Yep.
as long as they're traveling. They don't start traveling until the end of episode 1, right?
Sure,
So it's
but she's still presented as the main focus.
yeah. So
I'd be kind of curious to see. I'd also be again curious, just like number wise, to see episode to episode, in terms of viewership and whatnot, in terms of interest and overall enjoyment of those episodes and whatnot. But for my bold predictions, I'm going to go with this.
oh boy.
So in season 2, Titans. No, I think season 2, and this is truly my bold prediction, I don't think season 2 is going to be like a weird, we're going to explain, or talk about like the 4-year jump that we know that is between the 2 video games, the first one, the second one. I think the second season is actually going to just be a majority of flashbacks. Whether that be like talking about more Ellie's mom, or more about Joel, or more about what happens in that first year. But I think it's going to be, that will be the bigger primary focus. And I think also like you can do more there with like explaining Tommy and Joel's relationship. Because, the way, when you look at like the trailers and the marketing and everything, like the character of Tommy was very heavily presented. Not necessarily as like a co-lead, but he was very heavily presented out there as like a big factor. And like in terms of total screen time, I think he's there 2% of all episodes, which is fine. It's whatever. So I think like you're setting that up, and I think you'll get more of that interesting story and like more about Joel and everything and his past and the horrors that Joel has done. If you kind of go backwards and look at like what he's done in those 20-year period, as opposed to like the 4-year period or whatever.
One like slight difference too between like the game and the series. In the game, the reason Joel agrees to take Ellie is because the Fireflies have his, I think, weapons or something.
He really wants his gun.
He needs his gear back essentially. So he agrees to do this job. Versus obviously in the series, the reason he does this is because he's looking for Tommy, right? Like him finding Tommy is a big character motivation for him for a majority of the series. So there's a lot to that relationship,
of course.
I also,
more in the series than the game.
Yeah, and I loved everything with Tommy in the show. I thought was really good.
The communist.
So I personally would love
Communist.
I would love a Joel Tommy year 1 through 5
Yeah.
season. That'd be sweet.
And again, it's like, it helps with the world building as well. If you can kind of see like, it's a little tough where you go from 2003 you see the outbreak, and now it's 2023, and we have cannibals. And it's like, okay, like it'd be nice to kind of see a little bit of that progression. Like, I get it; it makes logical sense. Like the weird, crazy religious preacher guy's like, what am I gonna do? Let people starve?
Yeah.
Like, there's fresh meat.
And then you can see the formation of like Fedra and the Fireflies,
yeah.
the Raiders, and
And like I would love to know more about those pieces of that world and the world building of it all and everything.
Sure, they'll do like some books and some like extra stuff that fills.
There
in
is a
those,
podcast
in those gaps and whatnot. The
For sure.
games and all that stuff.
Is anyone here? Here's a good question. Is anyone here going to like try and play Last of Us Part 2, the video game?
I definitely want to.
No.
I'm going to in this summer, I believe.
I don't want. I didn't play the first game, and I love the show. So for me, there's no reason to spoil what I've enjoyed. If that makes sense.
And will either of you play the first game now that you've seen the first season?
No, probably not. No. Because the main
Again, I don't want to spoil what I've seen and loved.
The main reason I didn't play the first game or continue the first game is because it was so depressing.
Yeah.
Like I primarily like playing video games because it's a release, right? Like it's fun. You get some kind of enjoyment.
Yeah.
That game I did not find any enjoyment.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's
a hard
not
game.
a fun game in the traditional sense. And sure, some people enjoy that type of gameplay, and that's fine. That's great. But for me, no, that's just not my cup of tea.
But is it your cup of coffee?
No, because that's not a term anyone has used in the history of mankind post MCU creation.
Machu.
Hey, Arjuna, what's your cup of coffee?
I don't like coffee, Michael. I prefer a hot chocolate.
So
or
you're
as I like to say, a hot cocoa.
So your cup of hot cocoa?
Well, that's why nobody says this is what's your cup of coffee. I tried.
All right, I think it's that time to ask the big question. I started it off last time when we did our previous pod on Adam Driver 65. You can definitely go find that if you are so inclined to. But Christian, you start us off in terms of asking the big question here.
Okay, all right. Grogu was
The fuck?
Arjuna. No, I've done Juno a few times. Ravi was Last of Us Season 1 good?
Okay, real quick. Okay, don't be mad for a second here. I do want to say no.
Wait,
what? Why? You just want to lie?
I'm so confused. We literally just spent 59 minutes praising the show.
And you had nothing bad
You just
to
want to
say.
lie?
I heard not
You just
one
be lying. You're being a
negative
liar.
thing
Sure.
to say.
I'm going to make this as quick as possible because I don't want to spend another hour on this. The show's so fucking depressing. It is such a depressing show. Like, Juna, look at you. You marathon this shit today, and you are clearly, like, not happy. You are not as smiley and joyful and bubbly as you usually are.
Ravi, one of your favorite shows is Attack on Titan.
Sure.
The most depressing you love depressing shit.
But that's different. It's animation versus realism in life or whatever. I am going to say yes. Like, it is a good show. It is... Storytelling wise, it's great. Directing wise, it's wonderful. Acting wise, fucking beautiful. The visuals are amazing. But the thing that like puts me and wants to say no, like really deep down, is because of like how fucking depressed you feel after watching an episode. And I don't know. I'm a big believer of like we shouldn't be depressing ourselves like by watching. Like it's supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to make you like get out of the shit.
No,
that
all
is the world.
art is escaping.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to.
This is Christian logic right here. This is like when he
okay.
saw Venom and he was like, it made me happy, so it was a good movie. Well, he wanted to. I remember him, and he's like, and then upon reflection, he's like, no, this was actually a bad movie.
Right. So,
but I liked it and it made me happy.
So take that logic and reverse it for what it. I am gonna say yes, it is
doesn't
good.
work in either context.
It does work in my brain. It does work in my brain. But yes, it is good.
You guys are
I don't want to say it's good because it's a depressing, crazy show.
So you're gonna be rewatching this show often.
But it's nice to see people in worse shape than yourself.
I mean, that feels like a lesson right there. So
Yeah, whenever you feel bad, you can pop on this show and be
yeah.
like, you know what, my life isn't that bad. Here's some perspective.
yeah, there you go. Arjuna, was The Last of Us Season 1 HBO Max last attempt at making original content before some idiot CEO screws everything up good?
It was good. I enjoyed it very much. HBO Max's last hurrah? Question mark? Because who knows what they're changing the name to of the streaming service? Was good, and I'm excited for when season 2 returns to question mark streaming service in question mark date.
Love it.
Krishna, was The Last of Us season 1 better than Venom?
What do you think?
And was it good? Maybe. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, it was great. I think we beat the praise to death on this one. But yeah, it was fantastic from beginning to end. Someone who knew nothing about the games, Juno's right. Like the pilot, like the first 20 minutes of that pilot, I think I was like, my jaw was on the ground. Like that one shot of them in the car going through the streets, that's when I was hooked. That someone's like, oh, I'm in for the ride. The show is insane. And I think the strength of the show too was I thought it was going to be kind of like a shoot 'em up. I thought every episode was going to be gunfights with zombies and raider human groups. Because I was like, it's based on a video game. Like, that's what a video game is, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised and happy that it wasn't that. And it was so well done that it didn't need that action. And when it did have that action, it was effective because of all those quiet moments as juxtaposition.
This show is what The Walking Dead wishes it was. Like this
short and to the point.
Yeah, this is the show like The Walking Dead thinks it was, right? Where we're like, we are so
How many
good at
fucking
this.
seasons The Walking
11.
Dead? 15?
11.
Is it canceled yet?
It ended last year.
Sure.
Or
Is
this
there a
done?
movie coming out or something?
There's more shows, there's movies,
Crazy.
more video games. There's a lot. It's a huge.
All
When
I
did,
hope, all I
franchise.
hope is every actor who was in more than 2 episodes is just living a very nice and pretty life off the royalties. That's all I hope for.
A lot of them are doing well.
yeah,
know? A
that's
lot of
all.
them have good
That's all I
projects.
want
Yeah.
for them. The show is shit.
When did The Walking Dead first start airing?
That's a great question.
Obama has started his first presidency. I don't know.
It was
I
a
just
long
want to
time
know
ago.
if
I want
Walking
to say
Dead
2006.
Okay, so in the world of Last of Us, Walking Dead does not exist.
What a great
The
place.
Oh,
TV
thank
show.
God. You know what? That makes The Last of Us worth it. I'm in.
2010. December 5th, 2010.
So Obama
Yeah, so there's
was
no Walking
finishing
Dead
his-
in
in
Last
his
of
first
Us.
term.
He's still in his first term. There you go. Wow.
I have one last question for you guys.
Obama.
We're kind of Pedro Pascal fans, stands even here on the Was It Good podcast.
Yeah, just look on the set.
And I want to ask you, where would you rank this Pedro Pascal performance in all the Pedro Pascal performances?
It has to be at the top.
Behind Wonder Woman 1984?
I was just going to say, Wonder Woman 1984 is his
He
peak.
carried that movie.
I'm just kidding.
Carried it into the
Life
dumpster.
is good,
Yeah, right.
but it could be better.
Yeah, I mean that was the only good piece, that was the only good thing that came with that
It
film.
was so ridiculous.
No, but I would say this is probably one of his best performances because this is this show gave him the ability to show his
Face.
but also like just to show like what he can actually do like as an actor. Like he can present the psycho in a human being. He can present the parentalness in a human being. Like it has shown really good range, which I don't think a lot of, unfortunately, his projects have allowed him to show. Like I would say his other big thing before this was the Nicolas Cage
Unbearable
film.
Lightness,
The
the unbearable
Wait,
something
famous?
I saw it and I didn't yet. I need to.
Let's just
I want
tell you
to.
the
That's
Nicolas
night.
Cage Stan movie
The
with
unbearable weight of something.
Massive talent.
massive talent.
There we
Yes.
go.
Unfortunately, like in that film, like he plays a crazy person, right? Like it's just a crazy person. This is like you're showing like real life.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. I don't feel like he always gets that opportunity.
What
to,
about
like,
some
do
of his
that.
other barn burners, like Triple Frontier and the King?
I was just gonna
Two.
say his top 3 performances. I'll start at number 3, Mandalorian. Number 2, Last of Us. And number 1, Triple Frontier.
No love for Game of Thrones? The Viper.
Oh wow! I
Oberyn
forgot
Martell.
about Game of Thrones.
But the thing with Game of Thrones though is again he's just playing a very one-dimensional character because he's only in it for what 4 or 5.
It's a whole season.
Sure, but like he's not a big focus.
He fights the mountain and gets his eyes popped out of his head.
Watch that season. He's a big.
I'm never
focus of
rewatching.
It's incredible acting.
Yeah, he's a huge.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like literally
a fan favorite.
Yeah,
one of the biggest.
People were really upset when he died.
He was amazing. It's one of the best parts of that show.
But in comparison, though, like you see more range in this than you see in.
I saw him jumping in Game of Thrones.
No, that was a stun double.
I know. Yeah, I saw his head explode.
He's shown that he can escort a human person, a alien person. He's really escorting his everything.
He's shown that he can go underwater wearing armor and have to be saved and not be eaten by a mythical dinosaur.
You know what?
Do you think he's going to be in the next Death Stranding? Since he escorts so well.
Oh my god. I highly recommend. There's Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal joint interview, like where they ask they answer like internet questions.
Yeah, the Wired interview.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's hilarious. If you want to just see two best friends making each other crack up and answering silly internet questions, highly recommend. Very funny.
They're both going to star in the new M. Night Shyamalan movie called Friends.
It takes place in an apartment in New York City.
Yep. The twist is they're not friends.
If those two were in it, I'd watch it.
It's like, what's that Jim Carrey movie where he's on a TV show?
The Truman Show?
Yeah, so it's basically that as a horror film in the Friends setup with Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac.
Ravi, you should write that down. That sounds like a very interesting premise.
M. Night Shyamalan's next twist should be like you think it's like a horror movie or like his typical thriller, but it's like actually just like a rom-com or something else. It's
with Dave Bautista.
With Dave Bautista
and Gerard Butler.
That we pitched this a while ago.
You're right.
Actually,
yeah. You're right.
But M. Night Shyamalan's going to direct it.
It was during our plane podcast, the Gerard Butler film. Again, wherever you get your podcast, you can find it there.
I really expected that YouTube clip to blow up and become our first viral sensation, and it didn't. It has 67 views.
Well, give it time.
Wow, Christian.
We could be proven correct. We might be on the right side of history with that one.
Go find it. Watch it. Make that 100 or more views.
Yeah. And you will have a special sense of accomplishment in your heart.
Oh my god!
Anyway, that's gonna do it for us here on the Was It Good podcast. We went well over with
we're almost at 69
random thoughts after we asked the big question of was it good. We obviously talked about The Last of Us season 1. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram and TikTok at Was It Good Pod. Our full podcasts are on youtube.com/wasitgood, and check out our website wasitgood.info. Arjuna, our main guy here, has not told me what the next podcast is going to be on, so I can't tell you.
I mean, likely it'll be probably maybe the Ted Lasso premiere.
It's going to be Ted Lasso season 3 premiere, probably.
When is that car wreck airing?
That car wreck is happening on Wednesday. I will come with it with the fist of CGI and what the fuck did you do?
That one is a binge show.
Okay. Well, you hear it from Krishna.
I think Krishna needs those like buttery biscuits that or cake or whatever he makes.
Ooh, why does that sound so good?
Like
buttery biscuits.
The thing. What does he bake for his boss?
Biscuits.
Yeah.
Biscuits, right?
That's what England calls cookies.
Yeah,
biscuits.
Yeah, they're biscuits.
Yes, they're biscuits.
I thought it was cakes for some reason.
No, it's
I'm losing my mind.
It's cookie biscuits.
I'm just thinking of death and
oh my god,
deception.
But anyway, follow us on the socials. We may tell you what we're doing our next pod on there. Till next time. Don't eat mushrooms.